Assalamualaikum Dr. Ju.
Waalaikumsalam, Dr. Rohkmah. So we are still waiting for some others to join us.
Okay.
Just a housekeeping. Please mute yourself when you are not speaking. If you would like to speak, then you can raise your hand or you can write in the chat box. So this talk will be recorded for future purpose, for our record. So I can see participants are coming in. Okay, so my watch now is 10 o'clock. Yeah, so Dr. Rohkmah, shall we start?
Yeah, sure, we can start.
Right. Okay, Assalamualaikum and a very good morning to all participants. Welcome to UX Discourse organized by myHCI-UX. The title for today's talk would be From Rejection to Acceptance in HCI Journal by our distinguished speaker here, Dr. Siti Rohkmah Muhammad Shukri. So we are very honored to have Dr. Siti Rohkmah. How shall we call you, Doctor?
Just Siti is fine.
Okay, Dr. Siti. So this is perhaps the first event of UX Discourse for the year. We expect some more to come in later. If you want to share your experience, please do not hesitate to call us, committee members, in order to get your slot done. So basically, Dr. Siti will be our first speaker for the series, and I would like to basically introduce Dr. Rohkmah. Dr. Siti, Dr. Siti.
Either way, it's okay.
So Dr. Siti teaching and research background includes human-computer interaction, computer graphics and animation, and bioinformatics. However, her research interest lies within the child-computer interaction and cognitive science. In particular, how technology support human into decision-making and studying human behavior to build collaborative and adaptive interactions. She developed touch tools for mobile and tablet devices, specifically for children, by looking into their developmental, psychological, motor, and cognitive skills. Her aim is to acquire massive data about children's behavior to understand them better. This requires the use of deep learning method to study their behavior pattern. Mostly, her work revolves around understanding children's drawing to study their behavior. At the end of the day, her aim is to create technology interventions such that of assistance tool for children's learning and development skill and diagnostic tool as a medium for adults to understand children better. In a sense, the passion in teaching and research is to instill the practicality of building a good human-centered design that is technologically engineered for a better adaptive of human and societal use. Okay. So without further ado, I would like to call upon Dr. Siti to share her experience on one of the probably many journeys, yeah, to write in HCI journal. So please, Dr. Siti, the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Ju. And thank you so much to myHCI-UX for inviting me to give a talk, to give some sharing. So actually, Dr. Ju, when you called me the first time to give this talk, personally, I'm not the best person to talk about this subject. I also want to attend something talk like this. And I guess it's okay to just share whatever I've gone through throughout my writing journey in academic. And hopefully that can give some insights to other researchers and probably can benefit others, inshallah. So, okay, I'm just gonna share my screen. Okay, it has to, Dr. Ju, can you enable my screen sharing?
Okay, can you share now?
I'll try again. Oh yes, okay, I can. Let's just go to that. Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, right. Okay, so yes, let's start. Okay, a little bit about my background here. Okay, I have my degree in computer science. First of all, thank you, Dr. Ju, for just introducing me a bit about my research area. But just so you know that my background is actually in computer graphics. I did my degree in UTM. Of course, in computer science, my master in computer science, also majoring in computer graphics. It was in George Washington University, Washington, DC. And then I changed my area to human-computer interaction when I did my PhD in University of Birmingham. So at the time, I secured a scholarship from Islamic Development Bank, Jeddah. Okay, and then prior to this, I also have some very big industrial experience, like 1-2 years in Hewlett-Packard, and then in Supply Technologies, and then I came and jumped into being a lecturer at University Technology Petronas since 2003, I think, until 2018. And then I had to resign because of family matters. So I moved, I actually had to move to a different state. And if you see there's a gap between 2018 and 2020 here, in 2019, I didn't do anything. I just stay home, just spending the whole year writing papers because I have so many data from my PhD that was not published. And I think that is a good time for me to just have some peaceful moment writing. And then into 2020, just when the pandemic started, I became a sessional lecturer at Monash University. So the first week when the government announced MCO, right? So everyone's just trying to make sure how to, get education across for students. So at the time, we already started online. So I never had a physical teaching in Monash so far until now. So it's all online. And apart from that, because I'm just a sessional lecturer, I also do a bit of work in information visualization, writing papers to this one group. I also I'm working in another team doing a platform for teachers. We actually want to create a platform for education for teachers to share anything that could help them going through the online teaching. So hopefully that will be available soon, end of this year, inshallah. And I'm also in the process of applying for a grant under with the AOARD. It's an international BGS grant. So let's see how that goes. Okay, other than that, I'm just a stay-home mom for now. Okay, with these little things that I do. Okay. All right, let's go to my research here. So yeah, I'm doing a research on children's drawing. So all the drawings that you see is data collection that I collect throughout the studies that I conducted. Okay, so this first picture here is actually before that. So what I do in children's drawing is that I studied the process of drawing and the product of drawing. So I want to know how do actually children, they think, how do they actually use their motor skills, how they decide on certain way of how they draw. There's so many thought process there, understanding their perception, their cognitive, their aesthetics, and their imaginary. So there are a lot of things that I learned from this process of drawing. And then I also study about the output of the drawing, you know, the drawing that they put in terms of space, the meaning that they convey, the shading, the details of the drawing, all those are, it means something. So it's very interesting. So I like to, my intention is to have that information and study in terms of how they do it using, you know, technology these days, because children nowadays, they have, you know, easy access to iPad, any touch screen, right? So hopefully I can get data from there and understand them better, or maybe make an application that could actually make them adapt better. So those are normally like my goals in my research here. So if you see here, these are pictures of my study from my PhD. And I collected during my experimental studies with them. And then there's also one from my FYP students I did with in UTP. So I like to see like children's drawing. They're so cute. So it's just something that I love. Okay. Okay, now what I'm gonna do today is I'm gonna try to share with you my my PhD journey, because that is where I started to fall in love into writing and academic. I love writing. I'm very passionate in writing, but it started during my PhD that I really loved writing in academic. You know, it's where I started to learn and grow. And I think those experiences is very important, especially that there's a lot of things I learned throughout those years, which built me today. Okay, that I didn't know before. You know, you don't know what is going to be good for you later in the future, right? So I think this is very important, how kind of influence the way I write. So yeah, so it's going to be a bit long for in this slide, so you can get a cup of coffee and listen to me chit chat. All right, okay. In 2013, I started my PhD at late 2012. Okay, those are the year, if you see here, the year that I did a lot of massive reading. I like crazily read papers, just reading, because, you know, PhD, first year, you have no clue what you're doing. You need to find research problem, you need to find a direction, and the only way is to read. And the fact that I am from a technical background, my background was, you know, computer science, mostly in, you know, programming. So it is struggling to understand papers that I read for my PhD, because I'm moving to HCI and I need to study children's drawing, right? And in order to study children's drawing, I need to understand the psychology part, the psychology development, the drawing development, and all those things are coming from an area that I never ventured before. It was from psychology, cognitive science, education, and all before this, I was just reading algorithms. So it was really a struggling phase that year. I had to like, there's some papers I had to read like 10 times until the paper was like, you know, lunyai, like, you know, rotten. I had to print and read again, and, you know, just to understand better, because in papers with cognitive science or psychology, for example, they have terms that you don't understand, like what on earth is this? I don't have a formal background, so I need to kind of read and check. So a lot of my reading come from the first year. It was really like crazy. I read even during weekends. Almost all the weekends, I just go to my office and read. And on top of that, my supervisor, which is Professor Andrew Hose, he's an expert professor in cognitive science, and he is from another different world. So one thing I need to understand the reading. Another thing is to understand when talking to him. It was quite a culture shock to me, because I did my master in the US. I have no problem talking to, you know, academician over there, but I do have a problem discussing ideas with him. I don't understand what he says. He doesn't understand what I say. So that it was a bit surprising. I just talk simple language. He doesn't get me and I don't get him, because we're in two different worlds. So we share different perspectives and ideas. So the fact that normally when we discuss in that first year, he normally likes to throw ideas or just, you know, critique something. And I kind of just blank, you know, like, because you need to listen carefully what he says. And he's like a textbook reading to me, you know, a journal paper that you read that is tough, and that is reading to you. And it takes a while for me to digest what he said. And I also need to jot down, because then I got lost, you know, the point get lost. So that was very challenging phase at the time. So because of that, I did not pass my defense proposal. But the good thing at that time is that The department was very supportive. So I did go to them and say that, no, I have a problem. Maybe I should change supervisor. Normal things that, in first year that normally happen. They were very supportive. And, so one thing I would like to advise if you are students here, when you want to tell your problem, just don't sound like you're complaining, just make it look professional. So I try to do that. I say that maybe you have miscommunication and so on. So the department really support my problem. They helped me. And the fact that I did give a good report for my defense proposal, it was like thick, but it was like a lot of things. I couldn't like concentrate on one thing. So because every time I actually tried to convey my ideas to my professor, he just like, just throw it away. Like, no, Siti, this is not what I want you to do. So I don't know where to go. So they helped me, the department helped me. And then eventually they talked to him and we come to an agreement to go to a specific direction a bit. So that's when things get better, alhamdulillah. So in 2014, I remember January, I went to him and I gave him the new report from what we discussed. And then he said, Siti, are you trying to send this report to a conference paper? I say, no, this report is just for you. So, okay, I think we can send this to CHI conference. At the time, I have no idea which conference is top or what. So for those of you who's not in HCI, so CHI is one of the top conference in HCI. So first, number one, I think, right, Dr. Ju? It's computer-human interaction, right?
Yes, so, that's the top conference.
Okay. And then he said that you can send to work in progress and so, like a poster. So I thought poster before, it's just, poster. It's actually like an extended abstract of, 4 pages, right? So so that's what I did. I sent and alhamdulillah got accepted. So at the time I just want to travel. It's like, okay, I got to go to a cool place. It's nice. I've been studying, right? So okay, alhamdulillah I got accepted for that one. And also that year was the year that I started to do my first study. Okay, so in a PhD, you don't need to do as many study, but I did a lot because I don't know where to stop. So I had my first study was in 2014. What I did is I built a drawing application. So I was like, I used to be a programmer. So I know how to write things using, syntax language. So there's no problem for me. And then after I built the drawing application, I have to do data collection. So these are something really new to me. So the first time I did data collection to 40 children. It was a very enjoyable experience because I remember the first day I want to go and do experiment with children. I feel like so nervous and excited at the same time. It feels like you're going for an interview job, like going to a company that you want to do something like that. So at the time, it was not easy, to be honest, to do work with children. And even in the UK, they're very sensitive in terms of working with children. So you have to have all the ethics approved first. Okay, there's going to be some board, to approve all the ethical form for you to conduct study. So when I work with children, you have to know how to break the ice to make sure they do your work naturally. That is one thing. And there was some challenging in terms of, the parents come in, they try to say, okay, you make sure, Adam, you do this nicely. You cannot have those kind of interference because then the data will be a bit biased, right? So you have to be very careful. So there's a lot of things I learned from there. Okay, so anyway, after I did the data collection for 40 children in 2014, I analyzed my result and it failed. It was not successful. It's one thing I also need to learn in that year is just how to do statistics. I have no background in statistics, so that's also the year I learned everything. Okay, statistics now. So my friends, they gave me one book, Julie Pallen. That is a very good book if you need to venture in statistics. I just follow everything. So the result was not successful. So I had to do another study. So, okay, come on, just do another study. So 2015, I do my second study. Again, I build a drawing application, a bit different this time. Data collection, 34 children. And then from that result, it was okay, it was significant, but there was a lot of outliers. The things that make the kids bias in doing certain things. So you need to discard that. And I feel that this is not good enough for a PhD. So I did my third study. On that year also, like crazy, second study, third study, I built another drawing apps. I had to code everything again. I changed a bit. The third one is more like a drawing apps calibration, where I just want to test something to make sure there's no bias. So that's why there was only 20 children and it was successful. And because of that, I know I have to make another study to get a complete perfect one. So this is a problem. In PhD, you don't need to be too perfect, right? But I don't know where to stop, so I keep on doing. So it was my 4th year, 2016. So I was busy doing all this building, drawing, programming, data collection, analyzing. On my last, it was the year that, the last, you need to write thesis, but I had to do my 4th study first. So this time I didn't rush because I want to make sure that it's really correct. And alhamdulillah, I got to manage to do for 70 children. Okay. At this point of time, also my husband had to go back home to find a job also. He's been in the UK for too long. So it was me and my 2 little kids. So I had to drag them, bring them to data collection. It was challenging, but it's okay. Because I'm in my 4th study anyway, so I feel like, okay, I'm confident. I think I can pass. So once I finish that, I have only three months to write my thesis. And that's like a very short time, right? And I wanted to extend, but somehow I couldn't. There was some complication. I had to just finish it by the end of 2016. So I wrote my thesis during that summer in that only 3 months. It was, alhamdulillah, I have a sister there in London. So we went there because I have kids, right? It was summer holiday. The kids are not going to school. So I need to entertain them also and writing at the same time. So I have to bring them to my sister's house. So they have, my sister has another 3 more kids. I have 2 at the time, yeah. So they can play with their cousins. This is around the same. So I'll show you some picture later a bit. So that 3 phase of writing, 3 months writing, it's also very challenging because we have kids all around. UK house is not so big, and they need to go out also, and we have to entertain them. At the same time, I need to write. The good thing is when you have a very tight deadline, you tend to write good actually. Like it forces you to write like as precise as possible. You don't have time to do a lot of iteration. So yeah, after that, alhamdulillah, I submit my PhD thesis in by October 2016. And right after that, I actually I have this postpartum depression or something. I think I don't know what is that a term, because it's like when you transition from your study, this whole crazy 4 years, to suddenly finish, it takes you need a bubble, right? You need somewhere that can transfer you to that another phase, right? So I say to myself, all these 4 years just for this report, I have that depression a bit, but eventually go away, alhamdulillah. So yeah, so that is where my writing journey starts. A lot of things coming from this PhD, and it actually helped me to build my writing experience later. Okay, so if you see here, yes.
Sorry, there is one request. If you mind, you don't mind. Sorry, can you share the reference book later?
Reference book, yeah, sure. I reference book in terms of the
one that you mentioned just now about the methods.
Oh, okay. Julie Palin. Okay, sure. Okay, I'll put in the chat at the end. Just remind me. Okay, so if you see, this is a picture because I was I have kids and I need to go fast data collection. So my car trunk, is all like gift for kids. I throw everything there when I go to the house data collection. I just take it from there. So the people that I actually interview, I do experiment is children from I did one from school. There's the next picture is the one a gift for teachers, and also the one from from families that actually homeschooling, and also normal families that just send their kids to school. So there are different backgrounds of children. So it's really an eye-opening experience for me. Okay, so this it's all picture from my Instagram. I don't have many pictures. The left side is actually like the doctorate room. It's for the postgraduate studies students. So they need to write down, just do their work. Very quiet place to do your work. Cannot open social media whatsoever. So this is just one of those nights. Then it's a boring life as a student. You just study and you just don't do much. You spend time in the library. And then the right side, there's a fire drill. So it gets so exciting. Oh, fire drill, because there's nothing much happening, right? So yeah, so this is just a picture to share. And during my study, I changed place to different library, because in some university, they have a faculty that have a mini library. So I went to different libraries just to get some, ideas, just to get things flow inside. And this was a picture of my kids. She had to demand me to study the times, but she always had to bother me when I write. Okay, this is actually a dungeon, I would say. I have a very nice office during my PhD, but then at the 4th year, we have to move to another place. They call it dungeon. You have to write there. It's kind of, you know, tolak lah. You just don't, it's just not a privilege much like at the 4th year, but nobody wants to go there because the window is just like up to the high ceiling. And I'm the only one there. There's another Taiwan guy. So I use all places, the whole desk just to do my work. And the next picture is just an exhibition, my own exhibition. I just imagine lah, because it's actually data collection that I did for my studies. So I just want to put there and get my process, my thinking in process. All right. So that is about my PhD journey that actually starts where I experience and improve in terms of my writing. So let's talk about the topic today, which is HCI rejections. So remember, HCI is the conference top one in HCI. So if you see here, 2014 is a work in progress. So there are 2 numbers here. The first number on the left is actually the score that I get from 4 reviewers. So normally they have 4 reviewers. And the second number, if you see here, first one is reject, to 5, strong accept. And the second one, the numbers for the level knowledge of that reviewer, from 1 to no knowledge to 4 expert. So I put down all this data so you can see. Starting from 2016 here, that I submit my paper, that was just actually rejected. So these are the score that you can see, you know, and the level of knowledge they have. And then in cognitive science, I send one. After I got rejected by HCI, I sent to another top conference in cognitive science. They don't give me the score. They just give me accept or reject, and they still give me the same number of comments, which is quite a lot. And then, let's see, here in 2018, I sent also another one. You see, I have so many studies. So I just try like, you know, study 1 with study 3, for example, I send to HCI. And then rejected, and then rejected. And then 2018, again, I tried another one, still got rejected. And then after this rejection in 2018, I actually submit to International Journal of Human Computer Studies, a top journal also in HCI. And that one, alhamdulillah, I got accepted. After all the reviewers, what I did is I really read every comment from HCI 2016, Cog Science, and HCI 2018. I read every comment from the reviewers. I make sure I check and capture that. And it becomes a journal, you know, it becomes like a good writing, I guess. And then alhamdulillah got accepted. So in HCI 2020, I tried to also again submit it. Never give up. So this one, I actually wanted to send my 4th study, the perfect one. If you see, the score is quite nice. The first 3 reviewer, they give me 3.5. That is more towards acceptance, right? But then there's one reviewer, it's just I'm not lucky, 1.5, and his passing knowledge is only 1.5. So it's okay, not my rezeki, but it's okay. So I just want to share with you what are the comments from the reviewer. Okay, as you can see here, I am improving. So from the data here. So this one, the data I got, what I did is I merged the scoring with the score level of the reviewer. And it looks like, yeah, I'm improving, alhamdulillah. So then I can know my progress. So what are the weaknesses that they actually tell normally? I think this is something normal comments that you get in terms of, you know, when it gets rejected. The contribution especially. I don't have a formal background in HCI, I remember, so I was struggling in getting my research to show where it can contribute to the HCI community. So if you cannot give a contribution to the community that you are in, the research community that you are in, that will be a big no-no, like you will never get accepted. That will come first, okay? And the fact that I wasn't sure, and I like to throw them in ideas. I have 2 studies that are different in one paper. And because of that's too much cram, I had to cut out a lot of things. So there was no citation from classic literature. There was presentation issues like clarity and things like even figures are very important because you want to give to a prestigious platform. You have to make sure that everything looks so professional. Even figures needs to be very sharp, clear. I just realized this because my supervisor likes to comment. I give him a graph, he said, change it, make it like this, like that. And it's like, oh, it's just a graph, come on. But it is very important. So you know, to show that, you know, how you present your paper. And this is a few missing link. Okay, experiment procedure are confusing. Presentation in connection to HCI lecture need to be improved. So what happened here? I realized that I have a lot to tell in one paper, and Kai paper normally accept like 12 pages, right? So I want to tell everything, and of course, I would need like 20 pages to tell what I do. So I'm not okay. If you write a conference paper that has a limited numbers, you have to be very good in writing, because to write a short written article is very challenging rather than to write a longer one. You can just say everything in the longer ones, right? So for me, the conference is much more harder to get into, because you need to know how to say things very accurately, precisely, and nicely, but then convey everything, and there's no like missing links. So that was still something I need to improve. Okay, so yes. So I just want to share with you the one in Kai 2020 where I was improving and almost get accepted. Okay, actually I was sitting at 3.0 between accept and reject. Okay, if you see this, I checked in the website. Okay, when I got the result, and I see that, oh, I'm actually on the fence. I can get this, you know. So they actually recommend me to go for rebuttal. So these are some of the reviewer that I pick, some comments that are quite positive. So the idea is creative and original in terms of I combine theory, practical, and design. And you see that's a lot of things, right? It doesn't fit for 12 pages. You just need to pick some 2 out of 3 maybe. So overall, the paper is well written. However, it requires thorough reading, and there are several minor grammatical mistakes, normal things. So I write a rebuttal. So writing a rebuttal paper also is a good practice actually, because you need to convince the reviewer and need to argue about what they actually say, and to make sure that you didn't need to go through a lot of major correction in terms of getting to accept. So if you write in a way where they read it, oh, it seems that she needs to correct a lot of things. So that means definitely you won't go through. So of course I did not go through. It wasn't, you know, it was still was not accepted. Just to share your experience, a very nice way, you know, a new experience writing rebuttal for the guy. Okay. So how do you know like what kind of acceptance, you know, what are the criteria to go to a journal? So I just refer to Kai. Every year, if you go to their website, they have this guide to a successful submission. So I read 2018, I read 2019, I read 2020, I read one by one and check, okay, where should I improve? So these are 5 things that they put. So you can just refer from the website. So I'm not going to go through detail one by one, but okay, just read the one that is in bold. So why do contribution and benefit matter? So this is very important. Contribution to the HCI community. Does it benefit the, you know, researcher? What can they benefit? What are your new ideas or approach when you introduce something? Okay, how confident can the researcher and practitioner use the results? So whether your work is valid or not, okay, whether they can take that result and the claim that you give, is it valid to use? And of course, things like presentation clarity, because if you have all these 3 things, the first 3 criteria check, if your presentation is not clarity, the message is not there. You're not conveying your knowledge to the reader well. So if they couldn't grab that, still, you know, you won't go through. And if you have a prior work, make sure that it's adequately reviewed. Okay, so you have this link here. You can check, or you can just Google later. So from this all 5, I can sum up with this one sentence. You have to write your paper so that reviewers can understand easily, presentation clarity, that you make significant methodological sound contribution. So significant, something, you know, you have an idea and the result is significant, and the method that you use is a, you know, it gives a sound contribution. So that kind of sum up all these 5 criteria. Okay, and then yesterday I was trying to find, okay, what else I can share with the audience. I found this one from Maria Walters. This is the first time I actually stumbled upon her. She's a reader in design informatics. She's an editorial board of 2 high impact journal, program committee of ACM SIGA sets. Have you heard about it, Dr. Ju? SIGA sets. So,
No.
Yes.
Frankly, I haven't heard about SIGA sets.
Yeah, so it's like I'm not really aware of this, but
yes,
some other, you know, specific area in HCI probably, and also associate chair is MCI under the health subcommittee. So even she said, remember, everyone gets rejected, even paper chairs. So, but she reworked her first rejected Kai paper and was published in Interacting with Computers, a good journal. So I kind of like, it's just the same with me. It's similar, right? But she just got rejected once. I got rejected like 3 times. So that's only different. So it's the same thing. It's good that if you send to this high top conference, because you get feedback very quickly, because they have very short timeline, right? So they will give the feedback like in 2 months, 3 months. If you send to a journal for the first time and you want to see what is the comment, it may take a year. You know, journal can be 1 year, 2 years. I have a colleague who's waiting still 2 years, waiting patiently. It's like, so too much lah, right? So send to a good conference, get feedback, and from there send to a journal, a good journal. I think that should be one way to do it. Okay. Okay, I actually refer from her slides. The one that I like this one part where she get it from Mohd 2013, the new writer's error. So if you're a new writer, these are the common errors. It's either you write too much about the research problem, you're not saying what you mean. You have to be very direct and clear. You know, when you talk to your colleagues, you tell about your ideas. Sometimes it sounds simple and you can, you know, they understand. But when you write it down, you like to write it all bombastic word, right? Just to make it sound sophisticated in science. So people won't understand some points. So don't do that. And overstating the problem and claiming too much for a solution. So maybe that you're too confident that you're really solving something. Like there's no errors. So you shouldn't sound like that. You have to be a bit humble. What are the limitations? What are the weaknesses in your study? Okay, and then just be frank in your work, even in writing the paper. Okay, and then yeah, this is what I did also, putting too many ideas in one paper. I put too many ideas. I have 2 different studies, different ideas. So yeah, this is a common problem. So I hope you take note of this.
Sorry. Okay, lagi bawah.
Okay, so what happened to all those
design with the first model?
All right. Okay. So remember those 4 studies that I did? So this is what happened. So the study 1, actually, it was successful. I get to know it on the last day. I want to send my Julie Pallen book to the library. It was that day. They do it all. Due date today. And then I went to my friend, for one of the colleague, PhD student there. I said, okay, can you just look at my paper and just see my result, this first study? And he said, Siti, you should report, even though it's not significant. I don't remember the numbers. No, it was normally, it should be more than 0.5, right? But so I had to do another 1 round of, you know, an analysis for that study. So I go to the dungeon, I just do my analysis, check back. And then I realized I did something wrong before. So when I found the result, it was successful. I was like, what? The last day I'm going to send this book. Now you're telling me it was successful? If I knew, I wouldn't be doing too many studies, right? So this is the thing when you don't know things in advance, you just try. And then, so it was really, really shocking. I was so happy. So, but because I wasn't that confident to submit this to a journal, I submit to IVI. It's a good conference in Malaysia, International Visual Informatics Conference, right? I think most of you might know this. So Alhamdulillah, I got a best paper award. I never expect that. Okay, so this was my study 1. The study 2 was the one that I sent to the international journal that I got accepted, Alhamdulillah. And the study 3 is still in plan because it was a different setup. It requires different other areas that I need to study more in order to write. It's not that easy. It's more towards cognitive science, which is something I need to do more studies on how to write those kind of paper. And the study 4 is still in review. I just submitted, so I'm waiting for review. The last study 4, the perfect one, still in the same journal. I like this journal. So for information, when I get, I actually did also submit to IDC, International Design Children, I forgot, the children conference. So one of the reviewers said that it is best for me to submit to a journal, Child Computer Interaction Journal, one of the top journal for children. But I send this to IGHCS because I kind of like this platform, and I have 1 paper there, and it is good that I can kind of, you know, refer from my previous study in the same platform, right? Okay, so yes. So let's see, next one. So I don't know whether I should share a bit. What time is it? I just want to share some of the things that points from the reviewer from this IGHCS. So do you have time? Okay, we have time, right? So I can just gonna move my screen to another one. Just bear with me. So it got I got a major first time, two feedback, first major and then minor. Okay, so this is on 22nd August. Okay, so I got the result here. It's actually during Hari Raya Haji on 2018. I was like a week due for my fourth pregnancy, so it was a blessing. So what I want to share here, some little things that I think that maybe we did not realize. There's a lot of things that they actually comment, but yeah, even the title. Just want to emphasize this. The title itself, when you write a paper, it should, as it says here.
Dr. Siti, we can't really see your screen about the title.
Oh, okay, okay. Let me share
Probably
again.
you can reshare your screen.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay.
good. This is good.
Okay, thank you. So if you see that I highlight this one, just to tell you how important every little detail things in writing papers, even the title is important. Okay, so don't neglect that. See, she said that firstly, the title plays an important first impression of the work to demonstrate factors. Blah. The title seems not succeed in such factors. From the title alone, I do not know what the authors are trying to convey or why is it important for the reader's attention. So you have to have a good title when you submit to conference or journal. Because from that title alone, they can say, oh, this is the below average or this is above average, they can tell that from that alone, and you want to give a good impression the first time. So my title was quite short, but I think because I have good ideas inside there, so probably that was the reason that they can still accept and not totally reject. And the fact that it's a journal, right? If any major, it doesn't matter because there's no timeline. It can be as long as possible, dependence on the editor. In contrast to conference, which have very tight deadlines. So this normally do not accept major revision. So it says the title does not conform to professional research style. So even the title is very important. So I will share a bit about my title. And, other things like, what are the literature that I need to refer. And then, sometimes there might be a lot of minor things, but there's too many, so it becomes major, like things like you need to justify some design. I did justify, but sometimes it doesn't convey to them what I'm trying to say in my papers. I have to, rephrase it nicely. See figure 4, they all the figures, they also like very common. They look at all the figures, so it has to be perfect. And yes, okay, so all little things, and that's a lot. Okay, just want to share another one. Okay, this is 8 January, so let me share again. So this is the second time after the major revision. So I just want to share with you how lovely all these reviewers, because I'm so lucky I get good reviewers. They say thank you when I say something, when I try to correct whatever they ask me to correct, and they say thank you. I was like, it's like a pen pal, like as a friend. So I feel so close. Somebody really read and say thank you to me. So when you try to write back, try to correct your whatever comment that they make sure you tell at which particular section, which line, which one they need to know, so that they can say, okay, you did correct it. Okay. So for example, I cannot find this revision here in the motivation. So I did do it, but I updated it, but I didn't say where. So you things like this is very important also. So in case you have any comments, just make sure, otherwise they may say that, oh, you didn't do it. So just reject this paper. You don't want that, right? So I have confirmed that you have included subset, things like this, they are very important. I'm assuming that there's a typo. I can confirm it's being corrected. Thank you for addressing this error. So they thank me. Thank you for accommodating this request. I say, wow, also that's so nice. Just thanking me. Okay, that's what I want to share actually. Let's get back to the slide. Okay. All right. So what I want to share from this slide is actually the gray one is the one that's from the study for my PhD. The rest are actually birthed out of new ideas. Okay. Remember that for those first year that I was crazily reading papers and I thought that it's just a waste of year. It's not, because from there the idea comes. You know, you kind of move yourself from one perspective to like a bird eye perspective. You see the whole thing and you have new ideas. Okay, I can do this, I can do that. There's a lot of things I want to do, but it was not under my, during my PhD, it was not under the same research problem. So I did that and I submitted to a few conferences here. This was one in Malaysia. It's a student, my FYP students did this. So I give them the idea and they do it. And this 2021 was actually my master students, but then I had to quit UTP, so somebody take over. But actually the focus of this paper was more on the machine learning. So it's not really on students. The contribution lies within that technical of machine learning, deep learning stuff. So that's why it is submitted to Alexandria Journal. It's the top journal also. And then I also submit to IDC conference, this one. This is something coming from my study 4, but it doesn't, when I did my experiment, it was so many data, right? So some of the result can be it can go to different path. So it's not under my PhD, but I can use that result and put it and even submit to conference. I submitted to Interaction Design and Children Conference, this one, because the study it wasn't that strong enough for a paper. So I submit to a work in progress. So I strategized. Okay, remember 2020 there was a pandemic. I said, okay, I need to send to all these conference because they're doing it online. And I'm not working for anyone at that time. I don't have money. So I need to go to this online conference. That is the only way that I can still publish in good conference, but not being there. You cannot travel that time, right? They all make it online. So it's just like a blessing. Yes, for the pandemic. So right now you should just go to all the online conference because it save costs, okay? Unless you're rich, so no problem. Okay. Okay, so this is a book. So whoever asking about this book, SPSS Julie Palin. So I really have to give a credit to one of my PhD friends, Norina Akmal Anwar. She, her supervisor was doing study in statistic. So I kind of attend one of her classes. The supervisor was so nice to let me in. And she's the one who recommending this book. So I really use this book until all my study. So this is a picture of my daughter, Balkis. This is when we are going to do, that summer to write my thesis. So this was a train to London. So that's why you see my big bag there. So we're going to stay for 3 months. So yes. Okay, and as I said, that 3 months, there's kids, you have to bring them around. So while writing 3 months and then also bringing them around to the parks, have to entertain them lah, kan, because they're kids. So it's very challenging. So these are where I write my thesis. I change place, of course, different rooms. This was the living room, so very messy. And then you see this, my drawing. My kids keep coming, mom, see my drawing. I need to write, right? So I have to still. So many distractions. So I'm using LaTeX, if you see here. So I like to write using LaTeX. It's so cool. It's easier. I don't like formatting in Word. So LaTeX settles everything. So I like it. And it makes the presentation looks really nice. And I need that kind of setting. And this picture was at 4 a.m. It was summer. The sunrise at about 4 something. So this is the only time I have quiet time to do my writing before the kids wake up. So okay, so I kind of finished now the first part about my journey, my rejection, and yes, this is the second part where I would like to share a bit about effective writing. So Dr. Ju, do we need to take a break for a bit? I think I've been talking too long.
It's okay. Basically, because it's like 1 more hour. There's one question here from Dr. Chuyin about your affiliation, because it seems that you are no longer affiliated to any institution. So when you are submitting to journals, so how do you actually affiliate yourself?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Shu Ying Wong. That is a very good question. That is also a question that I ask myself. I'm not attached. So what is my affiliation? So when I read, actually, whatever study that you did in that particular university, you have to put that affiliation university. So because most of my study was in the, UOB in Birmingham, so I can still put that affiliation. But on the note, notakaki. So the footnote, yeah, I wrote that at the time of submission, I was either a lecturer in this, or I was a lecturer in UTP, just to give some notes on that. So because I have so many data, so most of my paper are still like affiliated with UOB. But then now I am a sessional lecturer. I did ask Monash, so if I write papers, so is it okay for me to put Monash as affiliation? They say, of course, yeah, you can. So yeah, I'm good. Otherwise, I'm doomed. I cannot write any paper anymore.
Yeah, Monash must be happy.
I don't know. They have very good people there, so people like me, like tak not important lah.
Dr. Siti, there is one more. How long did you take from submitting a journal paper to IJHCS to finally publish?
I think it's about a year. It's like, I think May I submitted and I got an answer by August.
Oh.
Yeah, 4 months. Yeah, and then another round of revision, right? So in January, and then on the second revision, it's only the time that I told my supervisor, look, I have this paper. It's second time, so do you want to see it? And he said, okay. So, and he asked me to extend a bit. So I didn't know that you can extend. You can just tell the editor you can extend if you need to. So because of that, I think kind of like a year.
Oh, wow. Chuyin, would you like to ask question? Chuyin, you raise your hand.
Hi, Rock. Can you hear me?
Yes, I
Nice to see you.
nice to see you too.
Photo picture right now.
Yeah, in meeting, I don't open my video only today. Oh my goodness.
I think only both of us will understand because we are in the Fusion 2020 publications group. Okay.
Yes.
Anyway, Rock. Thanks for a very good sharing and also a presentation slide. So I just wonder, because you shared about your rejections for so many times, to Kai. And now instead when you submit to IJHCS, then even though the review and the whole process take 1 year, but it was a rewarding thing. Okay, so I was just curious. Do you find that there was some? What do you think of the experience of submitting to Kai as compared to a journal like IJHCS? Because people have talked about that. Sometimes to Kai is more difficult, more challenging. Sometimes is that because they belong to a certain community rather than go through, like you say, you submit to other alternative venues. So what do you think of this?
Okay, thank you, Dr. Jin Wong. So actually, what Dr. was saying that between Kai and the journal, right? Actually, I sent to the same community. The journal, the International Journal of Human Computer Studies, they are the same people with Kai, actually. So how do I know this? Because, I see papers. So my editor from the journal, Alexis Hineker. So I check her paper. It's like, oh, she was in Washington State. Yeah. So all her papers is either there or in Kai or in IDC. So it's actually the same community. But the difference is that when it comes to Kai, they need to make sure that any acceptance that they're taking, it has to be minor, because it's a very short timeline, right? So they don't want you to give to make a major when they're not sure whether you can make it or not to the acceptance. But it's different to journal. You don't have that much, you have that luxury of time. Probably they gave you 6 months or 3 months. So there's no problem if there's a major revision. So that's why certain paper, you have to know, is it suitable for a journal or is it suitable for conference? You will kind of have some sense when it's your own paper, right? So yeah, there's a balance between that major revision and minor revision. So Kai has to have minor, the once you accepted it has to be minor actually. It may be major in minors, like many minors, but for journal it's okay. You have that long timeline. So yes, but it's the same community.
Thanks, Rob, for the sharing.
You're welcome, and thank you for asking the question. Okay, Dr. Chu, do you have more questions? Should we continue?
Yeah, I think you can proceed.
Okay.
Sorry, last one.
There's one remark here. Congrats, Siti, being so busy with your kids at home.
Okay.
You have time to submit paper to reputable journal. Good time management.
Oh. Those 4 years of study and kids, it just teach me how to discipline my time. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that's very remarkable. Amazing.
Okay, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, please, Doctor.
Okay, Dr. Wang, you were trying to ask questions just now?
Oh, yeah. Do you think possible that you share your presentation slide to us later on?
Okay, later I'll talk to you about it.
Okay,
Sure. I'll
sure.
give you, especially the link. I can give it to you. All the links that I refer. Okay, all right. Okay. Okay. Thank you so much. For all those comments. Very nice one. Okay. Let's move to the next part of the session. It's not much. It's about effective writing. Okay. Why do I think I need to stress on this? First of all, it's because maybe you have a good research already. Your contribution is very valid to the community, and you have a sound of methodology that you use. That's something interesting about your ideas. It's new or something. But then most of the time you have all this. The clarity presentation is something that we need to work on. We are Malaysian, Asian. Our native speaker is not English, right? So you kind of have to see how these people write. You have to pretend like you write like them in order for you to fit into a community and get acceptance. So they won't know, oh, okay. So the way you write is very important also. You have to make sure that you can convey the knowledge to the readers nicely, and also the style of your writing. So it depends. Different journal will have different style. So let me share with you which journal I normally refer. Okay, so these are my reading journals when I compile. Actually, the first year was mostly in psychology, but then if I compile all of it, it comes from cognition, cognitive science, trends in cognitive science, child development, human movement science. There's even one that I'm interested to submit. Computers in human behavior. They have this. We don't have this, right? So I was like, wow, computers in human behavior. This is very interesting. IGHCS, Journal of Experimental Psychology. So my work, the way I write, it belongs to this group. So it's more towards psychology and cognitive science. They write, the way these people write papers are very different than technical papers, right? They are very straightforward, logic, all those things. But they are more philosophical, and they use certain terms. And you have to keep on, if you keep on reading from this one community that you have, for example, you get the sense of the way they converse their ideas. So you have to write that way in order to say that you fit with them. Yeah, macam kena fit lah kan, but that's the way to get acceptance. So this comment comes from Dr. Walter. She said, find the right community for your research. So when I saw her point, I said, oh, that's what I did. Okay, so I did the right thing. And she says that adapt your work so that it fits the standard of the community where you want to publish. Yes, make sure it's the standard of the community. If it's in augmented reality, like you, Dr. Ju, so it has to be that standard of how the community, convey their ideas. The way they write might be different. And then you, of course, you have to learn from good papers. Okay, this is very important. Try to get your ideas across. So no need to write about science in unusual, complicated, formal ways, just to make it sound scientific and to impress your audience. This is what I did in the first few years. Because for me, science, right? You need to make it sound bombastic, sophisticated, complicated. So I write sometimes very lengthy, too much, so complicated, so sophisticated that I don't even understand when I read again. People don't understand also. So if you can convey your idea to your friend very nicely, that is how you should convey in your paper. If you're not good in writing sophisticated ways, so just be direct, be simple. It says here, strive to write in a straightforward way. Okay, example here. If you want to express an idea, just express one idea per sentence. Okay, don't put everything in one. That's normally I think Malaysian do, because I do that. So many things in one, and the person actually is always correcting me is my husband. His background is in engineering, but he's good in making sure that the words are just simple, straightforward. So he's the one who's keep on reading my papers like, what do you mean by this? So he helped me a lot actually, because I couldn't afford proofreading it, so I had to give to him. So in expressing an idea per sentence, you have to make sure the strength of that statement that you're trying to give comes with the right verb. So for example, okay, a complete thought or idea for a statement, we call it a clause, need to express in the right tense. So you have to choose an appropriate verb. For example, here you see here, the catalyst produced a significant increase in conversion rate. If you compare that with the catalyst increased the conversion rate significantly. The next one looks more nice, right? It's more like bold a bit. And it's simple. Okay, just to aware that if you're not, okay, I'm not good in this thing, but just to make sure that before I come to the next slide, we understand what is, present simple, past simple, present perfect. These are all the verb terms in academic writing. So for present simple here, present simple. Okay. Used for facts, generalization, truths that are not affected by the passage of time. For example, she writes a lot of papers here. Okay. The second one is a past tense. Everyone knows this. And the third one, a present perfect, is something about the past that links to the present. She has written papers for most of her classes, but she still has some paper left to write. So more example here. So you see, these two sentences we have here, the present simple and the past simple, is almost the same. The temperature increases linearly over time, increases. So it generalizes the experiment observation, suggesting that the temperature always increases linearly over time. But there is another way of saying, by putting a past tense here, the temperature increased linearly over time. So actually it's a statement in the past tense, refers to a specific experiment. And another example here, in 1905, Albert Einstein postulated that the speed of light is constant. If you see postulated, that is past tense, is in 1905. So, but it is expressed that the speed of light is constant. So it's actually expressing a general truth. It's trying to make a claim there. It becomes a present tense. So these are the little things that you need to take care when you write, okay? Know which is which I also struggle. And slowly I learn on how to write something like this. Another thing that I think is very important, writing either in active or passive voice. Okay, if you see there are two sentences here, the preprocessor sorts the two arrays. The two arrays are sorted by the preprocessor. So which one should you use? I know that Malaysian style, because I did this, I don't know, maybe some of you did not. I like to use the second one. The two arrays are sorted by the preprocessor. A bit passive, not really confident, okay? We like to refer to the third party. But every time you find something like this, think about which are you trying to focus more? Which subject are you trying to talk about? Is it the preprocessor or is it the two arrays? If it's a preprocessor, so make sure that's an active. Okay. If it's a two arrays, then it's okay to use a second sentence because you're focusing on the two arrays. So making sure that know which are you trying to refer to when you convey the idea is also important. Okay, another one between choosing active and passive. If you see here, the temperature is believed to be the cause for. This is something I also write before. I like to write like this. Is believed. Who believed? It's so ambiguous, right? Is it the researcher? Is it the author? Is it the community? So you need to tell the paper who believed this. So you have to write something like biologists believe the temperature to be blah blah blah. John believe, the authors believe, or we believe. Just state who believed this. Okay. So because sentence written in passive voice is normally less interesting and more difficult to read than those written in active voice. Okay. This is especially true for HCI psychology, maybe for like, areas such as, technical areas, they're a bit different. So it depends. You have to check how they actually write, the style of writing for your community. And even the mechanics of writing is also important. Okay, these are the things that the reviewers like to comment also. It's like, yeah, too detailed, it's little thing, just leave it. But no, they check, things like, okay, writing numbers, capitalizing words, abbreviation, you have to be very correct, ML, not ML, small or bigger letter, even hyphen. There is a difference. If I say low temperature impact without the hyphen, it means suggests a low impact of the temperature. But when you put the hyphen, low temperature impact suggests the impact of or at low temperature. You give a different meaning. So you make sure you convey the right one, which one. And even punctuation, like, the comma, to clarify a relationship between chain of words. So surprisingly, the temperature did not increase. So it's not really required, as it says here, but it helps. It's a good practice. It gives a bit of like some sense of flavor in your sentence. Okay. Yeah, that is about effective writing. Of course, there's so many, but I just want to stress what I think is important because the mistake that I did before, that the way I write is not really good. So that's what I improve.
Dr. Siti,
yeah, yes.
Before you proceed, there is one question here. Do you allocate the same amount of time for writing every day?
Oh,
Yeah.
um, okay. I write only when I need it. Like if I know that I want to send to a conference, then I start writing every day. And sometimes you still need to take a break. You cannot write every day because somehow when you write every day, your creativity get lost. You think that you write nice. When you come back in another week, you feel everything like rubbish. You just throw it away and you change everything. So it depends. You can do frequently, but you have to take a break and then come back and then fresh ideas on how to write. Yeah. I mean, I'm not submitting anything. I'm not writing. I write on social media, not academics one. Okay. The paper. Okay. Thank you for the question. Anyway. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to go through the whole thing. Okay, because this is not a one-day workshop, but I just want to share the important things in a paper, because the first thing any reviewer look at is the title and the abstract, right? So your abstract has to kill. If you don't kill the abstract, definitely they will like, oh, okay, this paper is doesn't belong here. They might less have the biased way of commenting. Maybe. So I follow Lisa Anthony tips in writing my paper abstract. I think she write a lot in she's from Kai. She write a lot of tips. So this is what I just refer every time I wrote an abstract, because I have no idea actually in the beginning, like, how do we write abstract? It has to be has a problem. What is the solution? What did you do specifically? What is a specific approach? What are the top 1 or 2 findings to take away, the biggest impact? How will this help the field of HCI? That is a contribution, okay? So it doesn't mean you have to do one sentence, it's just an example to refer. You have to have these 5 things in your abstract. And in order to write a good abstract, try to write it short. So when you send to Kai or any top conference or journal, they limit your abstract only to 150 and 200, between that range. So it's very challenging, because you want to put everything, right? You want to say your problem. It cannot be one sentence, it has to be more. But how do you write it in only one sentence, but really the message get across? So that is also a skill. So because I keep on, getting rejected, so I this is where I learn, okay, how to write it very nicely in a very precise and short way. So try to do that. I think that is very important. That it will help you to write better. Okay, this is an example of my abstract from the journal. Okay, as you see here, my title itself, I changed now, right? Because the reviewer said I need to change. So this title itself is actually my finding, my claim. The finding of my paper is I want to claim that children adapt during action to their own motor variability and the motivational context of action, because the whole paper is about these keywords. So the way you write a title also, it should look catchy and nice, but it depends. Not everything should be depending on the finding. It could be just a general statement, it could be design guidelines, but if you can do something, if your research is something like a finding that you can put a claim on it and it is really talking about the whole thing there, then why not? Okay, so if you look at my abstract here, I think this is 150. Okay, so this is the problem, the red one is the solution, so it's more than one sentence with approach, and then the findings and contribution. So there's no much space. So the contribution is very short. I couldn't put any more space. I think it's maybe 200. Okay, so this is from the journal that I submit. This is from that, the associate editor for my journal is this lady, Alexis Hennecker. You will know, they will tell you. So I kind of stalk her and see her paper. And this is a paper to Kai. It will be appear 2021. So you see, she has all this thing also: problem, approach, solution, findings, contribution. So it doesn't mean you have to have one sentence, you can have more than one sentence, it's fine. So this is for IDC, the International Interaction Design Children Conference, stop for Children's Conference. So same thing, I just example from one of her paper also. She sent it to this conference also. So she did her findings quite a lot. So it depends also. Okay, so this is also fine as long as you have all these 5 criteria. And this is another one. Is it her paper? Yeah, her paper also in the journal that I sent. So same thing. All these 5 criteria is there. So she has a contribution. So the last one, very short. Maybe no more room to write. Okay, so now moving on to the paper. I'm not gonna too much detail, just a bit of important stuff here. Okay, the introduction. So when the reviewer reads your paper, first is the title, abstract, right? And then to make it quick, normally they will read the introduction and then the conclusion, okay, before they go into the detail of the body of the paper. So in your introduction, it's very important that, okay, as it says here, it's important components of any essay. You have to make sure that what points you want to make, and the conclusion really, you summarize the points that were made. So make sure that it's, you kind of open and close it nicely, the same point, okay? So how do you write introduction? You have to attract readers' attention. Okay, you need to make them hook and want to read more. This is your chance, right? So begin your introduction with a hook that grabs your readers' attention and introduce a general topic, okay? A few ways you can do it, like state an interesting fact, maybe some facts that, you know, people not aware, or a statistic about the topic, just put it there, okay? Ask a rhetorical question. So like, okay, I'll talk about this one, and reveal maybe a common misconception, something that people think, but it's not true about the topic, just to get, you know, they keep on reading, okay? So something interesting facts. So ask a rhetorical question is something that I think I did, and I didn't realize it's actually that. So what is rhetorical? So I have to put the definition here, because I'm not good in this explaining what it is. So it concerns the art of speaking or writing effectively in a way you want to persuade or influence people by asking a question. You know, it's like you're asking a question because you're going to do a study about that. You're just asking that to lure them, to kind of influence them to that understanding, to that area. It's just something that it will look interesting, okay? So if you have that, you can try that in your introduction, all this few tips here. That there must be more. So in one of my paper, I did ask question at the beginning. I sometimes ask question also in the middle of my in the discussion. I throw some question and then I answer it. So that's a nice way also to write your paper. I think that is kind of, you know, psychology, they like to write this kind of way. Okay, and then state your focus topic, because this is common things. After that, after you hook that, then you write a sentence about your specific focus, what your paper is about, why is it important, and the introduction can include background information of your topic, which, you know, establish the content. Okay, so that's it. So I forgot to put the conclusion. So normally, oops, how do I go there? Okay, can I go back? Okay, the conclusion, normally you will say everything in your discussion, right? There is many sections. Discussion is where you discuss back your result and maybe conclude something. So conclusion is something quite the same thing, but you kind of rephrase it nicely, subtly, where you want to make a point, the same point, but you put in a different way of saying it. So just so it settles nicely. It's just how I try to do. Okay. I just want to, okay, so that's about introduction and conclusion. I couldn't talk on behalf of other sections, too many. So I just also want to recommend this book. I think, of course, if you're from HCI, you know this book. Okay, so Anna Cox, she was the external examiner for my Viva. Yep. So I'm so glad I got her. She's so nice. She's really nice. And I read her book. She came to UOB and I attend her talk. And she's one of top writers also in Kai, you know, associate editor in journals and so on. So she edited this book with Paul Keynes. Paul Keynes is one in Surrey. No, I can't remember the university, but yeah, both are good in good top people in HCI. So I like about this book, if you see this book, this is why I actually refer where my method come in, because, you know, when you are from HCI consists of people from different backgrounds. It could be from psychology, cognitive science, education. So if you want to come to HCI, because it merged all this stuff together, how do you conduct study, right? Okay, you have to ask your supervisor who's expert in that. But if you need a book to hold on to, this is a good book, because I like what it says here. I just want to read to you guys. HCI draws on the fields of computer science, psychology, cognitive science, social science in order to understand how people use and experience interactive technology. So if you want to understand people, you need these people outside of the computer science area. And then only then you will know how to understand that and to combine with whatever technology or anything related to your area, to computer science. Okay. So this book is giving you a lot of different ways on how to do the methods of your study, observational, experimental, and, you know, eye tracking, all those things. So yeah, it's a good book. I would recommend. Okay, this part is I actually discussed with my sister, Dr. Nurul Husna. She is in UPM. I always forgot what is her area. It's like something got to do with nutrition. Yeah, and something. So she also published in very renowned journal. Her paper got even editor's choice. So I always refer to her. So she's good in terms of telling me the methods, right? Because she's from clinical psychology stuff. So I don't really know much though, because I do experiment with humans. So I refer to her also sometimes, the method that I did. So we discussed about these three things in research. We call research in trio. So I'd like to share with all of you. So first of all, you have to have that thinking part. Okay. What I mean by thinking part is you have to make sure that you have the patient in your research, and the fact that you can be creative in expressing your idea. So what we also discussed is that it's okay to follow the trend, but sometimes even if you're not following the trend, but you have something that you're passionate about in a research particular area, people would like to know what is your perspective on that. So that perspective that you want to convey, that is what may be creative or novel. So you have to have that. The second part, of course, the study part, which is this book that I have to refer. Make sure the method and the finding is really impactful, that you have a sound methodology that you did for your study. Make it really like good, okay, in order to go to acceptance for high impact journal, because they only take those are very sound, and then for whatever claim you have later, it's acceptable, right? And yeah, so I'm not really good in talking about study parts. So you have to refer to your expert, your supervisor. And then of course the writing part, okay? If you can able to translate your knowledge effectively, that will be, that will be where your ideas go across to all readers. This is very important, the writing part. So even if you're good in the thinking part and study part, you have to make sure that you improve your writing skills in order that, the community or the reader can understand your ideas. Because if not, all those research work, hard work go to waste, right? Because you try to convey something they don't understand. So this is also the skill that you need to have. You need to, keep on learning. I'm also still learning in order to get acceptance to good platform. Okay. So okay. Actually almost at the end. So yeah, this is a picture of my graduation. So I finished my PhD 2016, I submit. 2017, I went for Viva. And then I delay my graduation because I was not sure, should I go back? I don't have money. I'm not working for anyone. So at the end, I decided, okay, just let's close this chapter and go. So I delayed about 2 years. 2019, I went, December, just before the pandemic hit. So so this is my sister-in-law Nadia. She had to demand me because I have to bring all four. So the problem with moms with many kids, you don't want to bring half of them, and you feel kesian lah kan, because the other two tak ikut. So always have that problem. Let's okay lah, we take everyone lah together. I have to bring the first two because they were there with me. And then my husband couldn't go because he has to work, and I decided to go there for a month. I'm not working, so I can go for a month. Okay, so yeah, so happy. And then pandemic hit, so alhamdulillah, I get to travel before that. Also want to share, yeah, this is my husband. This was the day, he came out only after I submit everything, just to bring us all back. Then we just go to Blackpool. We didn't go much, where he doesn't like to travel, so we just go to one pantai and then that's it. So we should celebrate, right? So, and then this is the guy, yeah, no, they are small. At this time, they're about 3 and 5 years old, I think. Now they're big. So then they're big, see? Graduation dah besar. So yeah, I just want to have some memory that they were there with me during my study phase. Okay. So I want to conclude with this. It sounds nerd. A quote I like, but it's actually a science quote, okay? Everything should be made as simple as possible, but no simpler. So what does it mean? The best theory in science or philosophy is the simplest one that still explains observations. So who said this? It's actually Albert Einstein. I just knew it because I think I saw Anna Cox said something this in her paper or in this book, and it hit me. And I say, oh yeah, because I like to make things complicated. I come from a technical background. I want to make it so complicated. I have so many studies. Actually, at the end, it's just as simple as possible, and as long as it's impactful. So what does it mean? So for example, okay, who put eggs in my refrigerator? Example question. Hypothesis A, someone in my household put eggs in there after buying them from the supermarket. Everyone can understand this, right? Hypothesis B, a gang of hens snuck into the house, managed to open the fridge, let a dozen fresh eggs in there, and vanish without leaving a trace. Too much, too complicated. The last one, in fact, no one put any eggs in the refrigerator. That is too simple, it's simpler. So at the end of the day, you want to get the, you can tell yourself which one you like. The hypothesis A kind of, get the message across, right? It's very simple. That is what it meant. In your research, in your study, in your writing, make it simple as possible, but no simpler and not too complicated that we just couldn't understand. Okay, so that is all from me. Thank you so much. Yep, thank you. And this is my email in case you want to collaborate with me with some of the research work, since I don't have affiliation. So yes, feel free to email me if you have any research in children. Kena promote diri juga. So that's all. Thank you so much, Dr. Ju.
Okay, thanks so much, Dr. Siti. It's very inspiring. And glad that you shared your journey with us. It's very honored to have you sharing all those tips and tricks, and as well as the thing is that when we get rejected, sometimes we feel down. So how you're going to back yourself on that will be very important. And there's probably one question here from Ami. Ami, would you like to unmute and say yourself? It's a Q&A session, so you can always unmute and ask question, Ami.
Yep. Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Dr. Siti.
Hello, hi there.
Hope you're well. So I have a question. So I might be one of the aspiring, PhD candidate. So based on story, I think I'd like to kind of know from experience, what's the best way to choose your PhD supervisor, knowing that you have limited access to information and time to actually validate things such as, their working style.
Mhm.
And if you have any other tips for future PhD applicants to ensure that we have, a good or best experience while we were doing it. Thank you.
Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you so much, Amrin. So I think this is my student from my FYP. So you actually from in the US, right? So yeah, I think he's trying to get to a PhD. So what I can say about the tips of finding a supervisor? It's not easy to say how, because it's better if you can email them before you choose one. You try to email them, discuss with them a certain topic, how they actually respond to you, the way they communicate with you through email. And sometimes if they will want to have a Zoom meeting with you just to make sure that you guys have some connections or in the same page, right? So you need to do a bit of study. So I will advise, as for my case, I didn't do much study. I was like last minute, I have to change the sponsor asked me to go to the University of Birmingham. I changed last minute and I got my supervisor, which is good. But if I were to advise, you have to also make sure that you check what is the student. You kind of stalk the supervisor, check who's a student. If you can email them and ask them, because there are a few emails I got from students who are asking me about my supervisor. So how is everything okay? Should I get, how's the supervisor? So you have to email them. Just try everything just to get to know him before you decide. Okay. And so if you got us, it doesn't happen to everyone, but some supervisor, they will help you more if you are in their research project. If you have a grant, so then they will really put a lot more effort in helping you. If it's the topics comes from you, make sure it's really about the same page with your supervisor interest. Okay, because if not, it's very hard for them to put their focus attention into discuss things with you, because it's not their interest if something does not align. Okay, so so email them, communicate with the students, check their research background, and see hopefully if there is, you get a good supervisor, yeah, inshallah it will be good. Otherwise, it's always something that you can learn from them. So yeah.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Hi.
Thanks for the question. So yeah.
Hi, Dr. Ju. Can I ask a question? Chuyin
Oh
here?
yeah, Chuyin, yeah. Before Chuyin, may I ask all the presenters to basically fill up the feedback form? I have shared the link in the chat box, and we will provide the e-cert after you fill up the feedback form. Thank you. Okay, Chuyin, please.
Thanks, Ju. Hi, Rob. I'm really impressed with your sharing. Thanks really for wonderful sharing. But I just wonder, what motivates you to write and publish? You know why I say this? Because many of times when people are in the positions, you're in university, you're an academician or researcher, because of the KPI, you can't, you know, you have no choice, you have to publish, right? So especially, you know, depends on the rank. If you are the associate professor and above, you have to publish as many as within the year KPI. So people are, you know, under stress sometimes because of, you know, those. But like your case, you say that it's a very wonderful thing that where you said you are now after you achieve your PhD in 2017, and there was a time where you spend time off with your family, and then you start back to, you know, to publish, even though you are now on contractual with Monash. So what actually, you know, even I believe in Monash, you are on a teaching role, not you are not, there's no compulsory for you to publication, right? So what motivate you, you know, to publish? Because it takes time, and sometimes, like you said, you know, it also needs some processing fees, you know, those. What motivate you behind that? Why you still want to do publication, even though it's not so-called our formal KPI?
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Wong, for that question. I understand that completely. So I realize that when you're in university, you have this all KPI, right? You have to go to submit to a high impact journal, and it's not easy, and you have so many workshop, admin stuff, all those things. And when can you write? So well, that's the reason why I'm not there yet. I didn't go back to institution yet. Well, actually, because I have that passion. I wanna. It's just that I love my research. I think I should convey this to the community. All this time, effort I put, I should write it down. And I also love writing. It's just, I'm so passionate about it. So, and the fact that, and what I found out when I'm outside the, you know, academic area, I realized that sometimes you need to do things because of the KPI, which kind of restrict your creativity of writing. So, and somehow you have to depart that. If you want to write, think of your personal growth. It could be university growth is different than your personal growth. As for me, I know like things like conference like Kai, maybe it's not be gonna be looked upon in terms of KPI. Work in progress. It's not really much weightage in KPI, right? But for your personal growth, you need to send to this conference, because if you're outside later on, if you're not anymore in the university, people will look into your publication and they will see where you publish. So those are for your own personal growth. But then I know there's a very challenging time nowadays because, you know, we have so many KPI. So I think still you need to have sometimes dedicated just for writing, and remember your true intention. You're academic, you should write nicely in anywhere platform. You should write nicely. So try to have that instead of because of the, you know, requirement. Okay, this year I have to submit this. So that alone kind of block your creativity. So it's hard, I know, but maybe that's why you need support from the group research team, help each other. So, but I'm not the best person to ask because I don't know how to do that in this challenging time. Yeah, so that's something that we all have to discuss and have a conversation about, right? So yeah. That's all from me. Thank you, Dr. Wong, for asking question. Welcome.
Okay, is there any more question from the floor?
So I also see my dad is also here, Shukri Abdullah, giving me support.
Oh, okay. Dr.
And
Shukri.
and my
Hi.
sister Arifa and Husna is also here. So
Wow.
my dad, he has a PhD in social science. So yeah, he really inspires me to write well also because, you know, of his achievement. When I finished my PhD, I asked him to read his thesis, and I was so jealous because the writing was so nice. It's like I could not write like this. I was so jealous. He said he had a very good support from the supervisor. I did also get, but in a different way. So yeah, it's inspiring just to say that.
Okay, we have one raised hand here, Enigma the best. So yes,
Hello,
please.
Salam.
Can you identify yourself, please?
I'm Siti Suhaila actually. Siti Suhaila.
Siti Suhaila, okay.
Okay. I need to ask. This is actually from my experience when I am trying to send to the journals, since we are in human computer HCI, we are a multidisciplinary, right? So my
Mhm.
area is about education as well as computer. The thing is, when I try to submit to the journals, they said that this is not their area. Like, for example, I send to computer and education, so they can say, oh, this is totally machine learning. And when I try to send to artificial intelligence journal, they said this is too human. So is there any hints or tips where I can send in HCI's areas? Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Siti, Sohaila. Just want to know about your research. What is the research actually really about? Is it machine learning, or is it like having machine learning in education, or is it like for human education? So just want to have some idea.
Okay. Actually, I'm doing dyslexic student adaptation where I apply machine learning.
Okay.
So my contribution is in the area for dyslexic student, which is in education. But
Mm-hmm.
the technologies that I made it is utilizing artificial intelligence.
Okay, all right. So okay, I got your point. So you have to so I'm not really, because I don't really know in detail about your research work, but you have to know which really, where does it really contribute? If machine learning is just an intervention to help something that actually the contribution lies in the education or in the disability children only, so probably it goes to children's psychology or education. So the machine learning is just a part of it, a process of it. It's not the real findings probably. I'm just trying to find, which actually it goes to which community. So look, maybe it's best, to talk to those who are doing the same area review. So they might tell you like, it could be in one area or different area. So as for me, I did try to venture in children disability. I tried to do some dyslexia paper. It's in for one of the grant and then from one of my research plan. So what I did is I went to Kelantan to one of the center that actually have dyslexia children. So I read a lot. Okay, I try to read. I kind of understand all these areas new. I read all the paper. I try to write something, but I know that I have to go there and kind of understand first. So I think it's best for you, if you're trying to give a contribution in that area, so find people in that expertise. So I met therapists in the sector. I met them and I even observe how they conduct, deal with children, how they read with children, just to get a sense of some ideas of what I'm writing is kind of resonate with what I see. Maybe resonate is not the right word. So yeah, I think it's best for you to talk to people in the area that you are in your research. Is it really education, or is it really HCI, or is it really ML? So because I have one paper that the classification of children's drawing, the name is classification children's drawing something something situation, but it's classification that is more on the machine learning. So that paper, before it got accepted, it was rejected by many papers because we sent to IEXS and they don't understand all this psychology stuff, so they didn't really read. Actually, the review came back like very short, and I realized that maybe they didn't, some of them didn't read and they didn't comment well enough as in IGHCS. So we sent to another paper journal, so we kind of jumped to one journal to the other until it fits. Yeah, it fits more to the technical, although the study is about children's drawing. So yeah, try to talk to people in different area and see, comment on your paper perhaps. Okay, I hope that helps.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you, Siti Sohaila. That will be a very good question because I think in order to get accepted in a journal, we need to really um, clear on a contribution, because each journal has their own, own body of knowledge.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so the ability to identify your contribution, it would be very critical when you are submitting to this journal.
Yeah, that's true. I just want to share with you also because even though my work was also related to interaction design children, I didn't send to children journal because I was highlighting the theoretical aspect of HCI. So that's why I still go to the IGHCS journal. So if it's something, so you have to kind of know where the contribution lies to which community, and that is very important. Yeah. So yeah,
I guess the key is keep writing and keep submitting. rejection is basically normal. When you do your research, it's very normal to have rejections when submitting to journals. The thing is, keep submitting. Yeah, hopefully you will find the right community that can basically appreciate your study. That's very, very much important. We have one raised hand here. Mr. Sharul or Dr. Sharul, would you like to unmute yourself and ask question?
Assalamualaikum. I am Shahrul from Unimas.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Doctor, for your tips on for us to start writing. But my question is how to stop writing. I mean, how to stop writing, how to make sure that your paper is good enough and submit it straight away. No more correction, no more rewriting and for revision and so on and so on. Otherwise, we won't stop writing. Thank you.
Okay.
What's your comment on that?
It's an interesting question. But before that, when you say stop, is that did you try to submit to a journal or was it like conference? There must be some stopping point, right?
For journal conference, journal papers.
Okay. I guess the only way that to stop is when you get feedback, right? And then when they say that this is good enough, it got submitted, then you stop. I don't know. So also I think at some point, I think you will get bored. Okay, for me, I've been looking to myself for so long. At some point, I need to like settle my paper. So I could not even write anymore. So there's one study which it was done in Birmingham, but it's not really entirely attached to my PhD. So I actually invite my colleagues from UTB, Dr. Noreen, so to write, to share the writing, because I had these writer's blocks because I got bored at some point. I think you must go through that phase where you just enough. So always there's the same thing you're writing. So you need to have other people invite writing to them with you, so you can have a different flavor style of writing, give different ways of the way you express ideas, and then yeah, that maybe help you to kind of stop. Yeah, so it's a very tough question to answer. I don't really know. So, but for now, I just want to share that I stopped writing because I realized that all my data is already published, so I cannot write any more good papers. I need to do research. So that's what I'm trying to do. But then I'm not attached, so it's not easy to do research, right? So I have to find a grant. So yeah, I'm doing different things. So yeah, only have good data, then it's best to publish paper. Anyway, thank you for the question.
A very interesting question there.
Yes, it is. Hard to answer also.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that when if you want to write, then you need to have data to share. So in order to get the data, then you need to do research. So that's how is it going?
Yeah, the cycle goes.
When you have those data, and the data probably is not new, then I think you need to do more research in order to get new data, and perhaps it will keep you going on writing.
Yeah, that's true, because my data also already finished now, so I need to find new data.
I think that there is also some of us that is more on child-computer interaction. Okay. So perhaps they can basically contact you, Dr. Siti, if they,
sure.
They want to have collaboration.
Yes. Yeah. So please come and collaborate with me. It's my email.
So there's one question here in the chat box, Dr. Siti, about your view on the future of HCI as its subfield of computer sciences. So it says that because now digital transformation is everywhere. So whether it's basically can be part, the HCI can be part of management and technology subject. So what's your view on that?
Okay, as personally, I think maybe different people have different perspective on this, but I think the future of research is human, because we have all this technology, all this algorithm, all this program, we can do it, but it will not be successful until we understand human. So actually, I realized a lot of people from psychology, cognitive science are coming into computer science, are coming into computer engineering. So I think that should be the future. I think outside from Malaysia, that's kind of the thing that they're doing right now. Because what I did, remember, I was one time trying to see other supervisor. I went to computer engineering department. Maybe I can change my supervisor at the time, because I was struggling. And then I realized the head of department was in psychology. It's like, oh my goodness, why all these psychology people are in this area? So a lot of people that I found out, they're from psychology and they come into computer science because they can help people to make use technology to make decision to help them, because this is something that technology cannot replicate, right? You need some data from these people. They understand well this field, so you need them to you know, cooperate and mix this research together. So I think that will be the future. Yeah, thank you so much for the question, Wakas.
Yeah, it seems that HCI is everywhere. It's interdisciplinary thing. Yeah,
Yes.
so we actually cannot confine HCI under computer sciences umbrella alone, because it's basically across throughout the multidisciplinary field. So I have one raising hands here, Hasia Muhammad. You can just unmute and ask.
Hello, Assalamualaikum. Hi Siti.
That's
Okay, still remember me, right?
Yes, I still remember you.
Actually, okay. So actually, my question is, how you change your degree background and master background in computer graphic? How actually, or what the motivation that made you change it to HCI area? Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tasya. Yes, I love computer graphic. I love computer animation. I love to do any program that makes things looks nicer. When I program, you know, you see things that can animate colors. So I love cute things, colorful things. So, but then why do I change? Okay, at some part, if you see from my master, between master and my PhD, I had six years gap. I was struggling to find an area where to do my research. I cannot do all those technical things. At that time, all the genius, all the good people in computer maths, they did a lot of things already. So I don't know, where should I park? I have no, where can I contribute? And somehow, I think there was a colleague, it's Dr. Nordin, maybe you remember, in UTP. He gave me a bit of idea. Why don't you do about children's, you know? Yes, like do a sketch recognition, children's drawing apps. Okay, why not? So that is where I started to read a bit, and I kind of like it because it's not too technical. I can still do computer graphics thing because I built something. It's, you know, have some cute things when I draw. But at the same time, it is for children. So it looks, I like it because I'm doing something for human, for somebody to appreciate it. And I never had that before in my studies, in my background studies previously. So when I feel that it means something to someone, when I do something, it's more meaningful, more purposeful. So that's why I decided to change. And then coming to reading all this paper, it's a different world, and I fall in love instantly.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Natasha.
Okay, probably we can take one more question if there is any question from the floor. We have actually, for myHCI-UX, yeah, we will have a series of UX discourse after this. So please follow our FB page, yeah, Facebook page, yeah, myHCI-UX, for more events like this. Okay, we can have some time for one more question if there is any, or probably you want to provide your views. You can always unmute yourself and, you know, share with us your view on the topic.
So Dr. Ju, just a question. You are your area is in augmented reality, is it?
Yeah, yes.
Also, so how does that connect with HCI?
Because when we have AR, you know, because we look at how AR is used by minorities, disabled person. So that's what connect AR and myHCI and ACI, ACI. So basically, one of my research is about disabled people trying to use AR in museum setting.
Oh, okay.
That's how UX and ACI comes into place.
Okay.
Basically, I think and I believe whatever technology that you use, you need to put human first, yeah, rather than focusing on technology alone. So that's why I think HCI and also UX is very, very relevant. Yeah, I think it will always stay relevant in years to come. So that's how I say it, Dr. Siti.
Okay. Because
And
I think I have a colleague also, Dr. Suzy from UTP, and Dr. Dayang. She's doing something similar to you for disabled people and AR. So yeah.
Yeah, Dr. Daya and Dr. Suzy is very familiar name in AR.
Oh, okay. So it's the same area with you, yeah.
Yeah, we actually met a few times
Okay.
during exhibition, yeah, innovation exhibition,
Oh,
as well as conferences.
okay, okay.
So yeah, we actually close but far.
Oh yeah. We all are close by far, right? So you are now in Perlis, right? So yeah, I'm in Malacca. Everyone is far away. So we are in one session.
Yeah, this is good because this is a platform where we can actually meet together and share our research interests. Yeah, and hopefully
That's
we
true.
can collaborate with each other.
Mm.
Yeah, so I guess we have here from UNIMAS, UITM, yeah, UTP, okay, and few other universities. So I hope these are the platform that we can collaborate together in whatever research or publication. Yeah.
Even I think I saw my students here also, my past students. So Z there, Z Aziz, hi. And also there's another one asking question, Amir. So they all do computer graphics FYP with me.
I see.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for giving your support. This is my first ever talk.
Oh, really?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
you did well.
Just maybe passionate.
Very passionate. Yeah, I think because those passion that lead you, that define you, and that's what makes your talk interesting, Doctor.
Okay, hopefully, alhamdulillah, hopefully you get something out of it.
So probably we have some more time. You have if there is researchers here that we want to share. Is there anyone from the child computer interaction? How do you find the session? Yeah.
Maybe also you can introduce about myHCI-UX, because I think some of our audience are not from HCI, they're not aware, right? So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. So a bit of myHCI-UX. So this is actually an acronym for Malaysian Association of Human Computer Interaction. It's registered under ROS, and also it's a part of Kuala Lumpur ACM SITKAI chapter. Yeah. And we are led by Dr. Associate Professor TS Dr. Masita Ghazali from UTM. And we actually, the objective of these societies basically to bridge the gap between industry and also academics. So that's why we have also members from the industry, and we are actively contribute in platforms such as myHackathon. We have also 24/7 UX talk. Yeah, so this is how we actually want to basically promote HCI and also UX in Malaysia, and also in the industry in Malaysia. Yeah, so you guys are welcome to basically join us. All the registration form is basically on our website. You can always search myHCI-UX website. It will be on myHCI-UX.org. And please follow our Facebook page for more events like this. Okay. So I think, yeah, Dr. Siti.
I also get to know this group because I know Dr. Masita, so she invited me. I mean, I never had any like HCI group before when I was in UTP. I was trying to find one. I only know Dr. Suzy and Dr. Dayang. So actually, I didn't know much of what are the conference in HCI in Malaysia. So it's really a good group because we have all like academicians from different, different background within the umbrella of HCI, right? So I think it's a very good initiative, and I wish that I was in this group when I was in UTP, so I can ask questions. But anyway, it's still helpful and relevant for even now, just to share that.
Okay, we have also Fusion 2021 coming in October, I think. So the poster is up on our website as well as our social media and hopefully I can see you guys there. Yeah, so Fusion 2021 will be the platform for HCI researchers to basically share the current research, yeah, in the area. Yeah, so there will be very interesting topic going on there. We have also student design competition. So if you students would like to participate, you can always look for the posters, yeah, and see how it goes, yeah, how you can contribute to the society and also to the design competition. Okay, if there is no more from the floor, Dr. Siti, can we just wrap up our session?
Yeah, sure. So what to wrap up? So I hope you all can take something out of my sharing session. If you love something, it should be reflected somewhere. So because I actually love writing, I love to do research, and anything that you're passionate about, I mean, it will be something if you try to go to the right platform that support that. Okay. So yes, I think I've talked a lot anyway. So thank you so much everyone for coming, and if you need to work with me for children or HCI or anything that related, just email me, and yeah, maybe we can get in touch. So that's all. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Thank
Major.
you, Dr. Siti, for the talk and for share all the good experience and also the not so good experience. That will of course inspire us a lot, especially those students here. Hopefully you can get flying colors in your research as well as in your studies. And thank you participants for patiently, enduring this talk. Yeah, I hope you guys have a lot of takeaways, and hopefully we can have you guys on board for our future events. So thank you very much all. We hope to see you in our future events. Thank you very much. Stay safe, and thank you very much again. Assalamualaikum and very good afternoon to all of you.